12 foes meet on this Sunday afternoon in Columbia, Missouri. Meeting for only the second time as members of the SEC, the Oklahoma Sooners, off to a red-hot start here in 2025, taking on the number 21 Missouri Tigers. Glad to have you with us as we welcome you inside of the Hertz Center in Como alongside Riley Roller. I'm Max Toma. It's a matchup today of two teams that were in the NCAA tournament a year ago. And for Oklahoma, they're led by the efficiency of two players in particular, the former All-American Alexis Shelton and a player having a banner year in Kelly Jo Burgess.
Both Burgess and Shelton have been incredible offensively, and a big reason why is because they complement each other so nicely. Burgess in the middle is up and so active that it really opens up space for Alexis Shelton because the opposing team's middles have to stay with Burgess to make sure they can slow her down as well.
Shelton, third-team All-American from a year ago. Kelly Jo Burgess having that career season, time for second in the SEC, hit .438. On the Mizzou side of things, they lost two matches to start conference play last week. First match at home in the SEC, they swept Arkansas on Friday.
Mizzou came out hot against Arkansas. They played such clean volleyball, but especially defensively and in transition.
They had 14 blocks to the Razorbacks one, and Tyra Ariel, a huge reason why, leading the way with 7.
Ariel was phenomenal at reading the game. She made sure that she had her eyes on the opposing team's setter so she could go close those blocks on the outside, be up in against the middle, but then also be active in transition for her setter to find.
Two very familiar foes. This is meeting number 74 all-time. They played for the first time in this conference last year, and Oklahoma looking for their first win in Columbia, Missouri since 15 years ago in 2010. It's a great matchup. Two third-year head coaches, two teams trying to go right back to where they were last year in the NCAA tournament come this December. Dawn Sullivan leading the Tigers. It's Aaron Mansfield leading the Sooners. Someone's going to have a perfect 2-0 weekend when this is all said and done.
Definitely. They're both coming into this match so nicely off of those big wins.
Dawn Sullivan, 49-27. This could be a big night for her. Looking for win number 50 in Columbia. Led them to a Sweet 16 a year ago before they lost to Kentucky in that second weekend. Always so cool and calm, but I'm sure if she wins today, her players will celebrate accordingly. 50, it's a nice round number early on in your tenure.
Absolutely. She's come in and made such a big difference in this program in such a short period of time.
She came here with Maya Sands at the same time. They both came over from UNLV. Maya Sands, not just the reigning, but the back-to-back libero of the year in the conference, and leading the SEC at digs percent entering today. What else is new? Same old Maya Sands.
Yes, we're going to want to keep our eyes on Sands tonight.
Janet Demaray will get us started. She had a nice bounce back after a couple of tough matches last week. And Oklahoma gets their first point here today. It's an Oklahoma team we'll talk about throughout the afternoon. They play a little bit of a different brand of volleyball, maybe than what Mizzou is accustomed to seeing so far in 2025. They'll throw that triple block at you and a ton of service pressure. And Imani Bush leads the team with 20 service aces this year. It's not just in the aces, but they get you out of system a ton. There's a great swing, and Kaylin Alexander was one shy of tying a season high at 16 kills on Friday. Hit a clean 500 on the nose.
She did a great job of limiting errors, and in that last play, that's one of those situations where the ball is out of system. You have to put in a smart, good shot, but not only does she does that, she finds the floor as well.
Tyra Ariel leads the team hitting .413. A couple of very efficient middles in this matchup, and with venom and malice, what a swing that was from Alexis Shelton as she hammers it through the back row.
And as you were just starting to touch on a little bit, Max, Oklahoma runs such a fast tempo offense. So both of those times, their hitters were taking those swings before Missouri's blockers had their hands pressed over the net.
Kelly Jo Burgess doesn't have an ace yet this year. Crownover sets it over to Alexander, a net violation. And back and forth we go in the early stages.
You take a look there, just that forearm touches the net ever so briefly.
Is it tougher in a quicker turnaround knowing that, hey, you just played on Friday and now you're facing a team with a very different look? Crownover sends it into the net here, but facing that triple block, is that something you work on in the build-up, even knowing that you were facing Arkansas on Friday?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not in the gym with them, but when I was playing, you had to prepare for both road games in the week of practice leading up when you had a Friday, Sunday match like that. So it can be very difficult when you're opposing two teams that run such different styles of play. You have to be dialed in for one thing on night one and then be ready to adjust night two.
An ace and a beauty from Tacoma Barnes, the freshman. That's her 17th. One of the most deadly servers, frankly, in the conference in her first year. When she's got it going, I mean, it is so difficult to deal with.
She puts in such a nice, fast jump topspin serve, and as you can see, the faster that ball is rotating was what allowed that to land on the end line when it looked like it was going out, but it just lands in.
It's with so much pace and topspin. That's off the top of the tape. Dealt with by Crownover. Baglio just rolls it over. Miscommunication here. Great layout there from Barnes. Oklahoma was all out of sorts. Now in rhythm, it's Shelton, though, but it's right into the wall in the middle.
There, Hayes doing a great job of getting up and getting over. She lines up really, really nicely on this ball as it was dropping inside and took away that space.
Reagan Hayes with the stuff in the middle. Had 3 blocks to go with 6 kills last time out on Friday night. This time much better in system and in rhythm. That's a long set across and a pancake from Janet Demaray. Pushed over by Alexander. Hall as the center now. And this 6-2 that Oklahoma runs with 2 very young setters. That's just beaten down the overpass. Camille Gibson gets her first kill.
A little bit of scramble play there at the net. Both teams, I think, kind of trying to settle into this first set.
Alexis Shelton, the senior from Charlotte, North Carolina. First team All-SEC in their first ever season in the Southeastern Conference in 2024. First service error for OU this afternoon. They had 14, but they had 10 service aces on Friday night in Nashville against Vandy. Dropped the first set. Dealt with some adversity in their first road SEC game of the year and came back and rattled off 3 straight set wins. 1 and 4. Back row attack from Alexander. Good dig from Fraga, her redshirt junior. Back row attack this time from Oklahoma, but it is an attacking violation and a point for the Tigers. The level is up at 5.
Yeah, so there Shelton's foot touched that 10-foot line. If you are in the back row, you cannot jump and swing in front of the 10-foot line. So they're really pushing the envelope to try to get her as close to that 10-foot line as they could, but just a little too close.
And it's the block again. Demaray and Ariel combined.
That is going to be the test today. If Missouri's block is able to get up and meet this tempo, and they are responding and doing so. There, Janet Demaray up and over before she's taking a swing on that ball.
Demaray had 3 solo blocks on Friday night. Had a lot of digs, too. Cross court, what a dig that was from Maya Sands. Back to Demaray, who tools the block. 4-0 run for the Tigers.
Phenomenal work there in transition. If you take a look at this dig from Maya Sands, that ball's coming so fast. She controls it so nicely, though. Keeps her team in system so that Crownover's able to find Demaray in such a good space.
We talked about it on Friday with Maya Sands, who has so many accolades to her credit. Well-deserved. This was beaten down right to her right, though. Camille Gibson with another high-quality swing. But for Sands, not just going down and getting that, but delivering a picture-perfect pass right to Crownover and just defense transitioning to offense so well.
Her defense that's so impressive to me is how she makes these difficult swings look so easy with the way that she is able to control them. Not only just, as you said, just getting them up in the air, but she gets them up so her team can still run a fast offense.
That point ended the 4-0 run for Mizzou with Sands at the service line. Reloading with Janet Demaray, stuffed. It's the triple block. Imani Bush got the key touch.
Yeah, here we see Bush comes in, so there are 6 hands over the net that Demaray is trying to navigate around. Such a tough thing to do when you're able to time it. It's very difficult to get that outside to come all the way over on the other side of the net, but if you have players that can move that quickly, such as Bush did there in that play, it can be extremely effective.
Serve specialist Sydney Thompson, the senior for Tulsa, Oklahoma, sets that into the net, so Mizzou back in front. Now our first look at Zoe Matias-Lopez, true freshman from Miami. Only 17 years old. We got a couple of impactful 17-year-olds out there on both sides, we'll see. Bush cross court and wide of the mark. Matias-Lopez had an ace on Friday night, had 7 digs too. Coach Sullivan told us we were really hopeful she'd have this level of impact, and she's had just that. Player playing beyond her years, split in the back row this time. Amani Bush, and the attacking error bounces back nicely.
Such a good job there of Bush of seeing that line was open for her to take advantage of, so just showing off her array of shots.
Great experience, the Washington transfer, who missed all of 2023 with shoulder surgery, came back second teamer in the Big Ten a year ago. The service errors starting to compound here for OU, though. That is 3.
But Coach talked about that. They really want to apply that pressure from the service line, and that comes at the expense of errors sometimes. But a big goal for them is to really attack the other team, get them out of system at any point that they can.
Super aggressive team all around, really at every capacity. So Coach Mansfield is never going to be too frustrated with the service errors. Kelly Cho Burgess able to terminate. That is her first kill of the afternoon.
Great pass here, so that in-system ball to Burgess. You just see how quick that ball is and how lengthy Burgess is, that she's able to have such a high contact point and get that kill.
Bonnie Bush, she transferred, but she did come over in the spring. That's a theme with a few players on the OU roster. Another service error, though. She came in, one of the centers, in this 6-2 they run. Avea Mega, actually 17-year-old herself, who graduated early from high school in Canada. So she came over in January, and how important for her to get those extra few months in with the team before this fall season.
That is huge, to just have that time to spend forming those connections, getting yourself up to the pace and speed of the game, because it's much different and much faster than high school.
That's Mega right there, tee it up. Shelton has got 3 kills to lead everybody. Very tight matchup here early on in the first set. Oklahoma didn't really look themselves on Friday in the first set in Nashville. They only hit 128. Service error number 5. That was a point of emphasis in practice, because when we talked on the Zoom call with Aaron Mansfield early on yesterday, he said, hey, against Ole Miss, we lost that 5-setter. They had a 22-20 lead actually in the 4th set, trying to close things out, and they couldn't. They just didn't terminate like they normally do. So point of emphasis that he was hoping to get some return on investment this weekend. They only hit 128 in that first set on Friday, and they improved that number each and every set, and it looked a lot more like that in set 3 and 4 against Vandy. Alexis Shelton with another. She's got 4 now.
That's just a testament to their ability to respond. Things didn't go their way in that very first set, but they made adjustments on the fly, which is critical.
128 in the first set, then 240 in the second, 343 in the third, capped it hitting 371 in a tight 4th set, 25-23. More heavy topspin and velocity from the service line. Alexander with the crafted kill.
Again, this is not a great play for Alexander. Out of system, just has to go in, and that ball is tight, but she shows her strength that she's able to push it through the blocker's hands. Tough
with the double block. You got Kennedy Patterson across the way too, the senior middle, who's 6'5", providing a ton of length for the Sooners. Mizzou back up by a deuce. With the tool, Alexis Shelton just hits it with so much pace. 18 kills. She hit 304 on Friday, even though after the first 3 sets, she was hitting sub 200. That's how scorching hot she was in the final set.
So you can just really see when she is in the zone and her setters are giving her those great hittable balls, she's unstoppable.
Through the middle this time, rare attack from Reagan Hayth in the early stages. Off the top of the block, and down for Amani Bush. 13-0. Shelton back to the service line. 1 ace so far for Oklahoma. In rhythm, quickly through the middle. Good up from Franga. Tipped over the top there by Bush. Brown over a little miscommunication. That's just pushed over by Demaray. Neither team looking too comfortable in this long rally, but Bush puts it away.
Yeah, both teams really scrambling defensively here. We're seeing a lot of out-of-system balls. Take a look at this bump set all the way over to Bush, how she gets her feet to almost nearly the middle of the court taking that swing.
Harper Hall with that blind bump set all the way across, hit it high, just setting up a teammate perfectly. Janet Demaray, the right back tied up again.
Demaray has become such a staple in this Missouri offense. When they really need that point and need to score, they find a way to get the ball to Demaray, and she executes.
Only 2 players with kills right now for Mizzou. Alexander's got 3, Demaray's got a couple. And it will be Mizzou that is the first of 15. A nail-biting first set here in Columbia between the Sooners and the Tigers. Field, who came to Norman after 6 years at the helm at Loyola Marymount out on the West Coast, took them to the NCAA tournament twice. He's got a lot of experience across the board. He was also an assistant on the women's beach team. He played himself at UCSB. He's got great California connections, and there's a trio of players from the great state of California on this roster, and a guy who's guiding Oklahoma back to, I mean, last year that was their first NCAA tournament win since back in 2013, and their first appearance in 5 years.
Yeah, he's done a great job with this program in such a short period of time, just with that different style of play.
Just not in rhythm there. A close set. Trying to tap that backwards with Harper Hall, and it's turned into the net. That's what we're talking about when it comes to the service pressure, not always showing up in the aces department, but just getting you out of rhythm and out of system. A little disjointed. Much better this time from OU.
Absolutely.
Kennedy Patterson terminates.
And as you were saying, yeah, when you are out of system, you can't run that fast tempo that Oklahoma really likes to push, but there, that ball was perfectly in system, so they're able to get it to their middle in really quick.
Patterson is one of those California connections, the Pepperdine transfer in year 1. She had 4 kills at 444 on Friday. In the middle this time with Ariel. Long bump set across the bush. Off high hands. Good retreating effort from Alexander to keep the point alive. Another bump set from Thompson. And the tool comes in from Gibson. Good point there from Sydney Thompson.
Yes, absolutely. She really took advantage of those 2 balls that she was able to bump set in when her setter took the first ball. She put in high, hittable balls for her hitters and was able to get that kill.
Sydney Thompson. And a service error, her first serve of the night off high hands. It's Ariel. Points right to her center. Gotta love that after a kill.
Ariel and Crownover have such a good connection. And Coach talked about this too, that Marina Crownover is really able to find Ariel in transition so nicely in serve receive. No matter if she's pulled 8 feet off the net, if it's a perfect pass, wherever it's at, they're able to find each other, which is so difficult to do.
Ariel in the middle entered today, 109 kills, second on the team. Overpass just dumped right down. Back-to-back terminations for Tyra Ariel, the USC transfer.
Great job of Ariel staying patient, waiting for this overpass ball, but also want to give some credit to Matias Lopez on the service line that forced that overpass.
The 2-time AAU All-American. Right back with another serve. Nice top spinner. Long set across. Good layout from Matias Lopez. And I did tap the antenna. It looked like it is a point for the Sooners. Good effort nevertheless.
Close just wasn't able to quite control that, but Coach talked about her just bringing such a ball of energy, but really being impressed with her ability to adapt passing and really change some of the habits that she had brought into that are allowing her to pass at such a high level now.
Comes from a volleyball family. Stayed in the 305 to play. Her mom, Deborah, played at FIU. Her sister, Emily, did the same. Ariel in rhythm. This time a great first touch there from Shelton. And it ends up with a point for Oklahoma through Tacoma Barnes.
Again, Barnes finding a way to tool the block. You don't have to just get your kills outright on the floor. You can use the other team's block to your advantage if those hands are not staying disciplined and pushing back in.
18-18. Back row attack from Alexander. Fraga got there in time, but couldn't keep it alive.
We take a look here. This is such a good pass, and I love that Crownover still goes to Alexander on a ball like that. People are expecting her to push that middle, that slide behind her, go to the outside, but she finds Alexander in the back row, which is great.
That three-point ball where you've got both pins and the back row at your disposal. And Kaylin Alexander, 611 kills last year alone. She can attack from anywhere on the floor.
Definitely, and that just helps open up a lot of space for her front row attackers when she has that presence in the back row as well. After Kelly Jo Burgess gets another kill. Her second, she's 2 for 2 on 2 swings. She connects with her setters so nicely. She is up jumping in the air before the ball is leaving their hands because she has that trust that they're going to put that set in such an accurate location.
9 ties already in this set. 3 lead changes. Who's going to be the first to 20? And they enter the red zone, and it's Alexander. Of course it is.
Look at just how Alexander has those 2 blocks in front of her, but she still is able to cut that sharper angle just inside of those hands.
Barbara Ariel had an ace on Friday. A very effective night in every capacity. Shelton right inside the back row.
Great decision by Mega to push that ball to the outside, opened up, had some space between the blockers.
Serving number 22, Whitney Walsh.
20-20. Neither team has been able to go on much of a run at all. Maya Sands had a 4-0 stretch at the service line. That's been the best for either team in this first set. Janet Demaray out of system with the high set. Good communication as that travels long. And how huge to win a point when it's 20-20 with Demaray getting the assist.
That is big. When you have a ball that is passed out of system here, rare situation that Demaray is taking the ball. She is confident with her hands. She put Alexander in that great position, put it high, put it close to the net so that she could swing away.
That's her 5th assist in 15 matches on the year. Comes at an opportune time. Back to Crownover. And a great tool on the far pin from Alexis Shelton. Every time Mizzou goes up by a point or 2, Oklahoma's right back to it.
Both teams doing just a really good job in serve receive in their side out offense right now.
Side out percentage about 70% for both teams at this point. Mizzou hitting 450, Oklahoma hitting 419 right now. What an opening stanza in Como. Another vicious serve and a second ace for Barnes already.
Barnes finds that gap between Sands and Demaray so nicely. You can see just splits that seam, and when it's coming at such velocity from the topspin, if you don't commit to who is taking that ball early on, that will be the result.
So there's our 4th lead change of this opening set. And the timeout called, and Takoa Barnes, I mean, maybe just trying to ice the server, because when she's in rhythm like that, I mean, we've seen the first set.
Wow, that is so impressive. Just the ability to stay dialed in that way, to continue putting in those tough serves.
Takoa Barnes, 3-time state champ at Boca Raton Christian School. She had over 2,000 kills in 4 years in the high school ranks too. I mean, she is feeling confident, and she plays with a certain level of swagger when she's getting that top spinner with probably as much velo as anybody we're going to see on either team from the service line today.
Absolutely, and as you said, yeah, we would not know that she is a freshman by the confidence that she brings to the game.
If you're Dawn Sullivan, what are you saying during that last break?
Just make early decisions. So identify off the server's hand where that ball is going, and passers talk to one another and commit. Decide who's taking the ball. It doesn't have to be a perfect pass. You just have to get it up so that our setter can continue with the offense.
Barnes fresh off an ace, and this time sails it long.
Smart timeout. Just get him out of rhythm a little bit.
But with that much pace and that much topspin, you're going to have the misses. You're going to have the ones that sail, you know, plenty distance long, get the best of both worlds with somebody like her. And a lot of the players on OU. Just that high octane, high caliber service. 22 all. And an ace for Mizzou. And it's Kaylin Alexander. We haven't talked about her too much on the service line this weekend. But what timing on a tremendous serve.
There, that ball just floats right off the platform of Frega, unable to control when it's coming from that high velocity. You could see she was shifting over, trying to take that ball to her right, but just wasn't able to get there quick enough to control it.
So Mizzou calls timeout after they get aced, and now OU calls timeout after they get aced. And Kaylin Anderson, who we talked to after the sweep on Friday, she was excited to really share the love with her teammates, just talking about the night that Tyra Ariel had, that Janet Demaray did, that Marina Crownover and Maya Sands. You always love when a player who's leading your team in many statistics and in categories who's willing to just share the love.
Absolutely. You could just hear the joy and credit in her voice when we were talking to her after that match. She really, as you said, shouted out each and every one of her players and acknowledged that this is a team sport. She can't be having her kills in the nights that she's having if she doesn't have those other players around her.
Got to share the credit. I mean, for her to have a night like she did, you know that Maya Sands is going to have to kickstarting things with quality digs and setting up Marina Crownover. A good night with the assists and dropping dimes to the outside pins like she did.
Definitely, it takes everybody.
Crownover had 32 assists on Friday. She's 9th in the conference in assists per set. So that was the second ace for Mizzou in this opening set. Both teams with a couple aces now. Alexander and Sands have the couple for Mizzou. Critical point here. A 1-point edge. See how Alexander could fare after the Oklahoma timeout. And it's just like what we saw from Oklahoma. Ace timeout service error.
It's very smart by coaches to take that timeout, get servers out of their rhythm, but as a server, you really have to dial in coming out of that timeout, especially this far along in the match. You don't want to be giving away those free points this late in the game.
What are the odds? And an ace from Shelton. Third of the set for OU, and they have a set point. She entered today with 2 aces and 17 service errors on the year, and she gets a massive one right here. So a set point. We just saw this twice, so what happens because Mizzou just used their second timeout?
Yes, so this will be a test if she's able to come back and put in a good serve.
Alexis Shelton, we talked about her in the Open. Third-team All-American a year ago and off to another flying start.
Shelton has such a fast, snappy arm. When you watch her contact this ball, just the speed with which she is following through is so difficult to defend because your block has to be up and over before she's swinging at that ball. So just a testament to both Shelton and then also her setters keeping that offense at a fast tempo.
Alexis Shelton, the senior pin from Charlotte, had that amazing 4th set at Vandy. And, well, today she's hitting .556, 7 kills in 9 total attacks.
That's huge. And don't want to forget about the fact that she's a 6th rotation player. She is in this match the entire time. She has 1 dig here tonight, but she also contributes greatly in the passing patterns, taking balls, keeping her team in system. So not only is she great for the team offensively, but she plays a massive role on the defensive side as well.
So many impactful transfers on both teams, but Shelton's been in Norman for 4 years. She had her freshman season, then they had a complete overhaul in the coaching department. She stayed on. Now she's top 10 all-time at OU in kills on the preseason watch list for the ABCA Player of the Year. This is probably exactly who you have in mind to try to seal out a first set on the road, even though she's only got 3 service aces, but you want the ball in her hands right now.
Absolutely.
13 ties, 6 lead changes in this first set. Janet Demaray, crafty with the off speed. We're back level.
Really good job here of Demaray by seeing that she's one-on-one in this situation. A lot of open space behind that blocker, just drops that tip in so nicely.
Now you get a veteran, a senior on the other side, and Maya Sands, who's got an ace today. Hit system opportunity for OU. Bump set from Crownover. Janet Demaray powers it right through the triple block.
Demaray just finding a way to edge her way through that block, and that is the risk when you do have a triple block coming up. You might be a little bit late if you are that outside coming in just as Bush was there. Just that half a second late allowed Demaray to get that kill.
We talked about on Friday Demaray's ability to showcase just everything in the tool bag, and she went with the deft touch to level things up. She goes with the speed and tries to cut off that inside body in the triple block.
Yes, and it's so difficult against a hitter such as Demaray when she has all those different tools, but when she's someone who has such a heavy arm, as a defender, you have to be ready for that. You have to be ready for that ball to come at you quickly, but she can switch it up with tips, roll shots as well, and she does such a good job of having the awareness of knowing when to throw in those different shots.
What a wild opening set. We've got bonus volleyball immediately, and right now Oklahoma's hitting 406, and after that last kill, Mizzou is hitting 500. 12 kills in 22 attacks with just 2 attacking errors at this moment.
Both teams playing such clean volleyball, not giving up those points at the net easily to one another.
This is a fun one for fans on either side and any neutral in the building or watching at home. Back and forth we go. 25-24. Arkansas didn't surpass the 20-point mark on Friday, so this is easily the most stress that Mizzou's had at home in a long, long time. It's only their third match at the Hurt Center. They lost that first one in 4 sets at home versus a Stanford team, which is one of the best in the land. Fans on their feet, a set point for Mizzou. Like I say, it's tough serve to deal with for Franga. And Bush, as we continue. Imani Bush has been active in this first set. One of the seniors on the outside. She gets her 5th kill.
Such a leadership from Bush in that moment, knowing they need that kill, need that swing. She had that one-on-one opportunity and took it.
Sydney Thompson, key moment here. Off the top of the tape, that's tough for Demaray. Sands tracks it down. Free ball over. Great chance here for Oklahoma. And they go right across to Camille Gibson. Another set point coming for OU. They have been balanced on the outsides today.
They have been, and again, just the tempo of this offense. Missouri seems to be just half a second late on that block.
Fortuitous bounce off the tape for Thompson. That made it so tough. That touched the top of the tape again. Crown over with the back set. Labaglio. What a moment for her on just her second swing of the day to get her first termination.
Such a smart shot here to go off of the hands. Crown over puts her in a great position on that one-on-one. Sees that the block's a little bit late so she can take advantage of tooling it.
True freshman from Argentina. And she gives way to another true freshman from Mizzou. Matias Lopez puts the pressure on and gets the critical ace. Her 12th of the season.
Huge to step in and put in a tough fast serve, but plays so nicely. Again, in that seam, making those passers have to make decisions.
Another set point for Mizzou, their second. This time in rhythm, quick set through the middle. Maya Sands lays out, puts it into the net. It's kept alive. What an effort there from Ariel. Set to the near pit for Janet Demaray. It's Nina Mandovich in there setting right now. And with the left hand, it's Imani Bush. We've seen that before this year.
Yes, and want to shout out Hall on getting that ball. That was a tight pass, but she got up, saved it so that she could still get that set out to Bush.
So many touches right at the net there on the Mizzou side of things. 27 all. Avea Maya came over in January after graduating high school early in Canada. The true freshman back with Crown over setting. Rare slide opportunity for Ariel. Great effort from Bush. And stuffed at the net. Tyra Ariel, 7 blocks on Friday and a critical one here in the opening set.
Huge block there by Ariel. And I mean, we saw it on Friday over and over again. When she is up and over, she takes away so much space.
Both teams absorbing so many set points. Mega with the quick set. Burgess, oh, Maya Sands. Rolled over the net by Alexander. In system again, it's Bush this time going cross court. On the right side, able to terminate.
Phenomenal job again of Bush just being ready, being in tempo, knowing that ball's going to come a little bit faster, and they're still just a step ahead of that Missouri block. That's when they get those kills.
Like we all thought, first to 30 wins the first set, and maybe not, who knows? And what a critical mistake. Just gifting Mizzou another set point. That's a rare miscue for Imani Bush.
Take a look, see her toe just touches that end line. So putting in a good serve, but giving Missouri that free point.
Mandovich checks in, Crown over back of the bench. So again, it's the true freshman, the 20-year-old from Serbia who joined this team really late this year into set. Tyra Ariel with the ace to end it. 18 ties, 9 lead changes in this first set, and Mizzou takes it 30-28. What a tone-setting opener, and what seems like it's going to be a thriller, a Sunday afternoon in Como. Don't go anywhere. been another terrific start for Kaylin Alexander.
Kaylin Alexander does it all. You can see she is so good with her footwork. She can swing on the outside, on the right side, from the back row for her team. She just has such a great court awareness of knowing when she's in system, when she's out of system, where those open spaces are on the floor, and has been having a phenomenal night today.
She didn't have an attacking error in the first set or the second on Friday. She didn't have an attacking error in the first set tonight. And look at that hit percentage.
857. That is unreal and just speaks volumes to her IQ as a player. Just knowing how to limit those errors, even if she's in tough situations.
How much pride do you take in that kind of a number? If you're not Kaylin, but if you're Maya Sands and if you're Marina Crownover, knowing that you're setting up an outside that well.
Yeah, that is huge. Exactly. As you said, that just also is a testament to Crownover's location and accuracy and putting her in those good situations. And Sands as well, when she takes that second ball, if Marina Crownover digs the first ball, they just do a really, really great job of putting Kaylin Alexander in those spaces to thrive, and she does a great job of capitalizing and not wasting those sets.
That's Maya Sands, the coach. It looks like over there on the sideline before she checks in. What a start. Both teams hit over 400. I mean, buckle up for the second set. Who knows?
Yeah, I think
we're gonna be in for a long afternoon. Avaya Mega, the freshman from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Two very different style setters, the true freshman and the sophomore on the OU side of things. In their 6-2 operation. There's a set that kind of took Alexander right into the net.
Yeah, Coach Mansfield talked about their differences. When you run that 6-2, you have two different setters, but he praised both of them for really leaning into their own each individual strengths and not really valuing one strength over the other, but talking about how critical it is to have both of them and how they're both able to command those 3 rotations being such young setters.
How it's much easier for them to command 3 rotations than all 6. For Mega, the more technical of the two, a little less risk-averse. A little more risk-averse, I should say. A little less risky, if you will. And then Harper Hall on the other side, maybe more of a gunslinger. That was the word he chose. More willing to make that risky pass. Haven't heard too much from Reagan Hayes, but announcing her presence here in second 2. Tyra Ariel just had the set point ace. 30-28 in the opening stanza. And she's going to get another. Feed the hot hand.
Ariel does such a good job of having a clean contact at the serve here. You can see how much this ball floats in between those two players. It looked like it was coming closer to Shelton, and then at the last moment just floated over closer to Frega.
It's great to see the contrast and the quality serves, because from OU it's a lot of hard top spinners from Gibson and Barnes, but more that floating knuckle serve. Great reaction in the back row from Matias Lopez. Took her pretty much the full flight of that ball to decide to avoid it or play it. She avoided it. It landed deep.
Yeah, and when those balls are coming so fast, it's really tough to make that decision. But she has incredible court awareness at such a young age.
This match is the longest run for either team today. It's 4-0 for Mizzou. Ariel's won 3 straight points at the service line. Quick through the middle. That just tipped over. The finesse for Kelly Jo Burgess.
Burgess, another player that really makes very few errors. So knowing in those situations when to take the hard swing or when to put in that short tip.
She only hit 364 against Vandy on Friday, which really lowered the hit percentage to 438 on the year. Only good enough to be tied for second in the conference. Reagan Hayes, she had the block earlier this set. This time it's a vicious swing.
Such a fast swing there and a fast tempo set from Crownover to connect with Hayes, which made it difficult for Oklahoma's defense to have a block up.
Crownover 18 service aces, leading the way for this team entering today. Long set across for Shelton. Alexander bumps it right back over. Shelton again, and this time taking no prisoners.
Oklahoma doing such a good job of taking advantage of this in-system ball. They get it fast out to Shelton, so she's swinging past that block before it's up and established.
That's Shelton's 8th kill. That leads everybody. Bush right behind her with 7. Reagan Hayes is playing some catch-up, though.
when these balls are just in system, we're able to feed it to the middle. Watch, she is swinging and jumping before that ball is leaving Crownover's hands.
Right back over to Mizzou. Not a system though. Upset from Maya Sands. Labaglio to that touch of hand on the way through. It did.
Labaglio seeing that ball's a little bit of an out-of-system situation and aiming for those high hands. If you can just get it to go off the top of the fingers, it's nearly impossible to dig.
Second assist of the afternoon for Maya Sands. I think it's 4 digs so far to this point. At 17 on Friday. Might get another assist opportunity at least right here with Janet Demaray. Tucks it inside the back line. It was tipped anyways. Janet Demaray having herself a day.
We talk about Sam's defense a lot, but again, here, she is running this offense, putting her team in such a good situation to take that swing.
Early timeout at set 2 for Aaron Mansfield. Sensing this momentum swing as Mizzou's off to an 8-3 start. OU uses their first of 2.
It has been all Janet Demaray today, leading the way for the Missouri Tigers. She has done such a good job, both offensively and defensively, putting in smart shots, mixing it up with tips and rolls, but also has been a big presence blocking as well. She has 5 kills already here today.
What does it do for a player's mindset and confidence knowing she's got 11 swings off? That's 4 more than Alexander this afternoon. They just keep feeding her. Yeah,
I mean, that just shows that her team has confidence in what she's doing. She has confidence in what she's doing. She's saying, yeah, give me the ball, I will execute.
3-0 run for Mizzou. So they can do coming out of the timeout. How about an ace for Kaylin Alexander, her second.
Her serve comes from such a high point, not something that you think about from the service line often, but she is contacting the ball so high, the serve is coming down at the passers.
They have doubled up Oklahoma in the aces department now, 6-3. It's probably not how you would have drawn it up or predicted it coming in with OU's success and pressure in that capacity. Alexis Shelton with a key tool here. OU only down by 5. It's still very early on, but they can use a little bit of a run right here, and they have Takoa Barnes at the service line. So, I mean, move up to the edge of your seat. It's exciting every time. Throws it as high as anybody. True freshman. Hits it with so much authority. That's only a foot deep. That is consecutive serves for her, though, that have missed long.
Just even the slightest miscue on a jump topspin serve like that can cause it to go long if you don't snap through, follow through just as much. So just high risk, high reward.
Harper Hall with the set. And the kill coming from Alexis Shelton. That was in the air forever and going towards the far corner.
I think that one that went straight off the top of Ariel's head.
She just tapped her head a couple of times. That's why it went straight in the air. She didn't know where it was. Not that it really mattered. Shelton had that critical ace that got OU one of their few set points. Off the top of the net. Deftly hit over by Demaray. How about it from Labaglio? What a decision.
Yeah, that's the situation. That ball was far enough over the net. She could have taken that with her hands and sent it to her setter, but she decided to go for it and take a swing on that ball. I like that confidence and decision making.
Overpass is kind of fading away, but able to contact the clean. Mizzou hit 371 on Friday. They're hitting 531 today. No question, they love being back at the Hurt Center. No touch on the swing from Imani Bush. And that is another attacking error. Tough play at the net. And the point goes for Mizzou.
That one's tough, just a little bit too tight of a pass by Shelton there. If we take a look, you can see just unable to get that ball before it is going over the net. And when the setter is in the back row, they are not able to jump and contact the ball above the net.
Tough thing because she didn't really have any other kind of option, right?
That was it.
Crown over on the back set. And a key block. We haven't seen too many. Bush will get credit there. That's the second for the Sooners. Their block is risky. It's been somewhat stymied. I mean, they were dominant. 13 blocks to the Commodores 6 2 nights ago. It's an area where Mizzou dominated too. We talked about it from the jump. 14 blocks to 1 at the Hurt Center on Friday. Back row from Alexander. What a layout that was from Thompson. And we play on. Alexander this time. Oh, ferocious. He went change up the first time around, not messing around with the second swing.
Great decision there. That first ball, Alexander tips, but this one you can see she sees the court and decides to go for that swing right through the middle of those two blockers' hands.
Burgess and Bush just left too big of a window to split the duo. Quick set, but it's tipped over right to Ariel. Cross for Alexander. Does get the tool. Some questions about that play at the net on the OU side.
Yeah, it looked like there might have been some toss-up if there's anybody in the net, but great job of Alexander getting that ball. It wasn't the best set. It was a little tight, but she was able to force it through.
Another killer serve at Janet Demaray with the celly after the ace. I mean, look at the difference. 8 aces to 3, and it's 8 aces with only 2 errors. That's unbelievable from the Tigers.
Yeah, that is huge, and just a testament to Missouri's ability to know their limits and know how to control their serve, how to put in a good serve that takes the other team out of system without necessarily pushing it too far to that error.
What a stretch for the Tigers, and what a response after a thrilling first set to go up by 10 here in set 2. Next week, we'll have another Thursday night women's soccer doubleheader. 10th-ranked South Carolina hosts Texas at 6 Eastern, 5 Central. That 5th-ranked Tennessee takes on Oklahoma. Both are right here on the SEC Network and the all-new ESPN app. Next, Tom O'Reilly Roller with you here from the Hurt Center on SEC Network, where Mizzou, I mean, what a terrific second set. This is almost the flip version of what we saw Friday night, where they blew out the Razorbacks in the first set, and then the Hogs responded so well. It's a very tight second one. This has been the reverse.
Yes, the Tigers are doing a really good job here. That was a back and forth first set. It was a good test for both teams that they're able to maintain that level of play in set 2, and the Tigers have been able to do so. They've really limited their errors and continue to play crisp, clean volleyball.
You got to take a load off your shoulders when you win a first set like that, especially knowing, hey, you're the home team, you've got the pressure on you, you're probably expected with that rank number next to your name to win matches like this, but it goes all the way to 30, you win. Does that calm you down a little bit?
Definitely. I mean, it's nice to get that first set under your belt when it is that close and you fought so hard and so long for those points. So it is a huge confidence booster when you get that win.
Demaray has his service ace in 7 of her last 8 matches now. Tee up Bush, who's able to get her 8th termination. That's tied for the second most. Alexis Shelton, her teammate, the only player in double figures in that department.
Both Shelton and Bush do such a good job for their team. When they need those points, they know that they can be the go-to hitter to find a way to score.
Aaron Mansfield told us about Imani Bush, the senior, came over from Washington. Hey, we knew what we were going to get from her. You know, she's a proven entity in terms of what she does during matches. Key stuff. There is Imani Bush right on cue, by the way. But he said, you know, she is so consistent in the way that she conducts herself off the floor as well.
Absolutely. And Coach Mansfield talking about that accountability and that presence of Bush really bleeds into then your teammates are able to trust you in every aspect, on the floor, off the floor, everything.
She wants to have a long pro career. What an effort for Deani Frega to keep that alive. Mizzou does win the point, though. But for Bush, just to finish up, I mean, he said she is so steady with her emotions. That's also really impressed him and another player like we talked about. Transferred, but did get here early in the spring. So some extra run time with this group.
Yeah, and having that calming presence is really critical, especially in situations like these, in those tight matches that we saw in set 1. She brings such a good, calm confidence to the team.
Gets the first contact here. Didn't look too quick and clean there through the middle with Burgess. They get the point anyways.
Huge out-of-system swing there from Flack. She did a good job of waiting, getting her feet to that ball, even though that set was really far inside.
Alyssa Flack hit for the first time this year. The freshman pin, who's one of 4 players on the team from Canada, from Streetsville, Ontario. Crownover with the back bump all the way across for Alexander off high ends. What an assist for Crownover, too. Just never phased.
Yes, Crownover does such a good job of controlling these balls. You see she's running back over her shoulder. She has to still put in a high hittable ball for Alexander, and she does just that.
Todd Sullivan said this team has had an up and down stretch to begin this year, but they have really grown from the early challenges they have faced. Coming in 9-5, but 4 of those losses, the team's currently in the top 12. I mean, that's been the storyline this year.
And we've talked about it a lot. There's a lot of new faces on many of these teams with the transfer portal, with these awesome freshmen that are coming in. It takes a little bit of time to establish that chemistry and that connection. So Coach Mansfield had hit on it, that they're playing their best volleyball right now at this point in the season, which is what you want to see, your team continuing to improve as they establish those connections.
Mizzou's got 10 new faces, not to be outdone. Oklahoma's got 11. 7 transfers, 4 true freshmen to go with a redshirt freshman. Kelly Jo Burgess has had some nice moments here at set 2.
Burgess on the kill. Now serving number 9, Kelly Jo Burgess.
She will go back to serve. Hitting .500 with 4 kills and 8 attacks. That was nice of Labaglio to wipe off the wet spot as OU also changes out the server.
Gave him a little bit of time to make that decision.
It's Whitney Wallace, the sophomore from Los Gatos, California. Her father played volleyball at UCSB, and that's where her head coach, Aaron Mansfield, also played his collegiate volleyball. Labaglio bumps it over, free ball for OU. They go quick through the middle, but turned into the net by Patterson. Set just a little off there.
Yeah, just a little bit of a miscue there from Mega. Had that ball a little bit too low.
A lot of the conversation for OU with their 2 very young setters in the last 7 days has been, hey, we don't need to be perfect, right? It's just about getting back to the basics and just getting the shape right. Because you have 2 seniors really as your main outsides, and they don't need the ball to be hit into a perfect tiny window. It doesn't need to be perfect for them to figure it out, right?
Yeah, definitely, and that alleviates a lot of the pressure.
Crownover goes into the seats. Point for Oklahoma.
Take a look here. Crownover is going all out, just runs out of space there as she goes into those chairs, so she's not able to get to that ball. But seeing her pursuit of the ball, that just has to fire your team up, knowing, okay, my pass doesn't have to be perfect. I know my setter's going to put it all out there to try to get to it.
Overpass dealt with by Patterson. Hey, give some credit to the fans in the front row, too. Keep your head on a swivel. Get out of Dodge. Give her a chance, right?
Yes.
Don't just stay home.
And they did just that. And take a look here. Tight ball. And Oklahoma able to just close that net and take that overpass.
Kennedy Patterson, just her 2nd kill of the day. Another just deadly looking serve. And what a swing in the middle. Mizzou up by 9. Reagan Hayden.
Again, a lot of little scrambles there at the net. That overpass came over, and Hayes was like, we're going to end it on that play. Not waiting around.
I've had enough of this, is what Reagan Hayes was saying. Great effort from Maya Sands. Janet Demaray kept alive by Frega. Bush up against the front row. Can't keep it alive. So many points that Mizzou wins that really gets started on defense. The transition so well here from Sands to Crownover to Demaray.
That play, just the range that Maya Sands has to get to that ball, it might be difficult to see when those plays are happening so fast, but she's covering so much court to be able to get there. Unable to control that one. You can see she's a little bit disappointed. She was in the right space, but wasn't able to control the power.
Riley, that might have been the loudest contact of the night from Camille Gibson, the redshirt sophomore from Crossroads, Texas.
It was crisp. We could hear that snap all the way up here.
Tennessee transfer came over from Rocky Top. It's year 1 in Norman. So we get our first look at Jasmine Ellison The sophomore from Toronto. So close to her first ace of the year. That was a razor-thin margin, just wide of the line. Third service error of the year. The errors today piling up, as you can see on the Sooner side of things. 9 service errors. Mizzou's only got 2. It was actually 10, excuse me, on the service errors front now. What a great attack from Bush, just inside the 10-foot line.
Yeah, there Bush doing a really good job of cutting that at a sharper angle rather than going to that deeper corner where I think Sands was kind of anticipating and reading the ball. So she did a good job of concealing that shot that Sands was not able to read it.
Mizzou still up 10, or just 2 points away from taking the first 2 sets. In rhythm over to Janet Demaray, but stuffed at the net. Camille Gibson with the denial.
Gibson took that line away. That was the shot that Demaray was really hoping to go for there, but Gibson did a great job of getting her hands up over and early back into the court.
Absolutely love that reaction, too. Put her hands out, palms up to the sky, like expect anything different. Out of sorts, out of system, and it's a point again for OU. Couple in a row.
And that is exactly what Oklahoma needs right now to apply that service pressure. It doesn't have to be an ace. Just get them out of system so that they're not able to run these faster balls to their outsides.
Sydney Thompson's had some good stretches from the service line. Diving set there from Crownover, trying to get back to her spot. Got there a little bit late, and it's turned over by Imani Bush. That was tough from the start. And more service pressure. Again, it's not an ace, but it's so tough from Oklahoma when they put in these difficult serves.
Yes, and then that just puts them in that situation where they can give that ball out to Imani Bush for her to score.
Imani Bush, we've seen her on the right side, we've seen her on her strong left side, we've seen her at the service line. She can do it all. We know how dynamic she is.
She is. She has such a good high contact point, and you can see on both the right side and the outside, she can go sharp cross over the top of a block, through the block one-on-one, down that line, the tip that we see through the block. She has such an array of different shots, and her experience has allowed her to know what situations to do what in, and we see 10 kills already here tonight. She's doing a great job.
Double-digit terminations for the 12th time this year in 14 matches. Season high is 20. That happened one of the 2 matchups they had with St. Mary's. So it was 23-13. The set felt, kind of over at that stage with Mizzou at the service line in the midst of a run. Good stretch here from the Sooners.
Oklahoma has responded so nicely here to start building some momentum, getting themselves back into the set. Volleyball is a game of runs. You never know what is going to happen. So kudos to them for really sticking in it and getting back into the set.
Camille Gibson's off in her own world. She's been dancing the whole time. You absolutely love to see it.
But Coach Mansfield talked about that. He said that they're a team that works hard and plays hard. And when they're at their best is when they're having fun, like we see that dancing, that cheering, that egging each other on.
That was a great note. He said, hey, you can see when we're playing our best, not just from the actual literal play, but from the moments between points when we are high energy and just loving and soaking in every moment, joyful out there on the floor. That's what we've seen the last few minutes. Especially when you can continue it over into a timeout break. Back set from Hall. They go right back to Gibson. She was dancing there on the timeout break. Now she's terminated.
And yes, Gibson, just a great job here. We can see in this situation, she gets off the net so quickly for that approach so that she can take that big swing on the one-on-one. It's really tough to do in transition. Something that you might not think about is how the attackers are having to go from that blocking to that transition for their approach.
Mark that down as more of a gunslinger type set too from Hall on the last point. And mark this down as a 6-0 run when their backs were to the wall.
Yeah, Hall does a great job of, as you said, she's not afraid to take those risks. It might be a ball that's 8 feet off the net, 10 feet off the net. She isn't going to go for just the easy set. She's going to go for what she thinks is going to be best for her hitters, even if it is a harder set.
Demaray with the first contact, back row from Alexander. Another opportunity for OU, quick through the middle. and make it 7-0. Extra point is good. What a stretch from OU.
Oklahoma just applying the pressure so nicely here, getting Missouri out of system in serve receive, out of system in transition, which is exactly what they need to do to slow down the Missouri offense.
Nervy moments here for Mizzou. They've got one timeout left. Sooners ran out of timeouts early on in this set. Janet Demaray, the Tigers need it. Not going to find it here. Bump set from Thompson. That's off high hands. Crown over on the slide. And they go to Tyra Ariel. And the transfer gets them within a point of winning this set. They were on 23, what felt like forever.
In system situation, you can see that Ariel's going back behind off that 1 foot for the slide. You know that Crownover wants to find her because she's so efficient behind her.
It ends the 7-0 run, and now potentially 4 set points in a row coming from Janet Demaray and company. That was close to her second ace of this set. It's the give and go. Alexander misses the line, though. Went across the way, wasn't off by much, but a rare attacking error, only her second of the day.
Yeah, we don't see this very often. You see she's trying to cut inside of that triple block, and it just goes wide. So they're a really good situation where they put 3 up against Alexander to force that error.
That whole side's open with the triple block. We haven't seen Mizzou really go with the soft stuff in that direction to try to go around it. 24-21. Crowd still on their feet for another set point. Crownover sliding with the bump set. Alexander again off the shoulder of Frege. Kept alive by Ellison. Right back to Frege. Alexander, her direction again. Frege having a point. Out of sorts here. Sands with the bump set. Mizzou trying to calm things down. They reload with Alexander again. What an effort on the slide for Matias Lopez to get over there. Maya Sands, a tremendous dig. In-system opportunity for Alexander, and she will terminate. She gets her 10th kill. Alexander into double figures for a 12th time, and Mizzou wins another thrilling set when it looked like they were going to run away with it. It was 23-13. Oklahoma pushed them to the brink, but the Tigers win the first 2 sets here. Back here in Como, what a matchup this has been. Mizzou's taking the first 2 sets, but the first set went 30-28. There were set points abound on both sides. So much pressure. A crucial error on a serve. Foot on the line from Bush. That really changed the momentum, Riley.
Absolutely. In that first set, when it went to those extra points, Missouri coming out on top really bled into their success early on in set 2 here. But OU responded so nicely at the end to get themselves back in the set, ultimately not able to fully get back into it with Missouri taking that second set.
That final point felt emblematic of the first 2 sets that we've seen, because that was just absolutely bonkers. It was wild. Errors have been a key storyline, especially on the OU side, as they have continued to mount. We've seen that from the service line with the pressure that they generally apply, but the attacking errors and the service errors have been a big difference in what has been, 30-28 and 25-21 the first 2 sets.
Yes, that has really been the key to this game. Who is able to apply that pressure to get the other team's offense out of system? Because on both sides of the net, we have phenomenal hitters. So each team has to fight to figure out a way to slow them down. Burgess
misses a little bit deep here. OU actually out-hit Mizzou, 251 to 210 in that second set, even though they lost it. And they caught fire late. We'll see if they can continue. Even though they lost that set, had some momentum there to end things. Maya Sands turns it into a swing from Alexander. And they're giving some run to Alyssa Flack. And she is showcasing on full display just why she's out there.
She is. Flack is doing a great job coming into this match and putting in really fast, tough swings. She is having confidence that is just then able to allow her to find different spaces on the floor.
True freshman who's got 4 kills in 4 swings. It doesn't really get much more efficient than that. Sent right down by Ariel. A good dig from Mega, the setter. Flack again, and this was just going to be really difficult off one leg at the 10-foot line.
Yeah, tough out-of-system situation, that might be one where you want to take a little bit off it rather than going for that full swing. But again, just something you're going to learn over time.
Love that, going right over to the staff, too. That's maybe just a freshman moment, right?
Yeah.
You've got the hot hand, you're playing really well, you're not accustomed to being out there. I mean, she's playing at the SEC right now for the first time. Shelton been there, done that. Shelton trying to win the joust, but Crownover sent it back over. Shelton over the top of the block. And it lands right in front of Fraga from Kaylin Alexander.
Kaylin Alexander just seems to find a way here. Such a great job of Matias Lopez getting that ball up, and then Alexander seeing that third blocker had dropped off so she could cut it a little bit sharper inside.
Seems consistently when there aren't three in the block, she's cutting it inside. It's system with Shelton just beating it down through the back row.
We talked about so many different offensive weapons here tonight. So then when they're able to get this ball in system, watch how fast Mega is able to get that ball out to Shelton so that she can swing over those blockers before they are pushing over.
Dumped right down by Haith. Quick to it from Mega. Crownover. Little back step through the middle. Different wrinkle. Another kill, though, for Reagan Haith.
Yeah, Haith just talking to Crownover there. Crownover gets pulled a little bit to the middle of the court, so Haith goes behind on what's sometimes called a 6, a quick behind the setter tempo ball, and they just work so well in tandem, knowing where each of them are on the court.
A great rapport in their second year together. Two players who came over, Crownover from Texas, where she won 2 national titles, and Haith from Illinois State. Continue to beat the drum. It is Alyssa Flack, 6'2", the freshman pin. Get a chance to serve now. I mean, hey, they made their run late in that second set with some players who aren't accustomed to getting a lot of run time. Her first appearance collegiately, and there's a service error. She'll check out as Harper Hall, the sophomore setter from Highland Park, Texas, is back in. The UCSB transfer. She was another key to getting into the portal, because not only did she come over from California, where we talked about Erin Mansfield's got a lot of connections. Overpass, Reagan Haith. But she also played in the 6'2" prior as well, so nice to have that similar experience.
Yeah, so she knew what that was going to be like. And here, just great presence by Haith, being up, ready for that overpass.
Service error for Mizzou. It's only their third. Got 8 aces.
Mizzou has done a great job of balancing that service pressure, wanting to take the other team out of system, but limiting their errors at the same time. That's exactly what you want to see.
Jasmine Ellison coming back in. And misses a little deep. It's always tough when, I mean, Mizzou hasn't made many mistakes from the service line, but OU makes one right back on the other side.
Yeah, when they give you that free ball, you want to capitalize on it.
Bush goes down the line, and Crownover just got it all sorts of wrong.
Just, you can see, just a little bit disappointed in that play. She was there, she was ready to play the ball, but just wasn't able to handle it.
That was a great job from our camera crew getting her reaction shot. I think you heard a little in there. Crownover with the long high set to Demaray. She thinks it was touched, and it was. Up to 7 kills, Janet Demaray, at 11 last time out on Friday night.
Now serving number 1, Zoe Matias Lopez.
Bush, ferocious. That kind of high-handed, I think, a side of the head of Zoe Matias Lopez.
Yeah, that ball was just coming so fast. Matias Lopez wasn't able to adjust her hands to go take that on top of her head.
Camille Gibson, she's one of these big topspin servers on the jump serve. Oh, doesn't get better than that from Gibson. Just drills it down the line.
Easy straight down the line, but watch how close this ball goes to the net and just paints that line space. It's really, really difficult as a passer to chase a ball out to the line like that.
That was picture perfect. What can she do to follow it up? Went for the opposite side and clank it on top of it enough.
Yeah, there her toss was just a little bit off, which had her drop that elbow.
Serving number 12,
9-7 in the third set. Gotta give a shout out to this ref crew as well. We haven't seen a single challenge yet today. Announcer's jinx could be inbound. You never know with these things. Off the mark. That's a point for Mizzou. This could be it.
I think
We're going to get a challenge. That is unbelievable. Wow. You might never see that again. Alyssa Flack with the attacking error as things stand. My goodness. What a weird day.
Oklahoma is challenging it. There was a touch by the blocker.
Well, still, we could shout out the crew because David Dufresne is the down ref who just made that announcement. April Frick is the up ref, the R1. Misty Kulis and Ken Corum are the two line judges. I'll take that one with me for a long time. Rarely can you premeditate the announcer jinx and actually acknowledge it before it occurs.
Predicting the future. Can't quite tell if I think that that's going off of
The call will be reversed. Point Oklahoma. Oklahoma will retain the challenge.
Successful challenge for Erin Mansfield and some showing of trust in her freshman outside too, in Alyssa Flack, who does get the kill.
As soon as that ball got attacked, she was turning around. She said touch. She knew it. She was telling coach that whether she heard it, she saw it, she knew that ball got touched.
at the service line, number 7, Imani Bush.
Imani Bush, she came in. We talked about a lot of the servers. Haven't harped on her too much, but she is top 10 in the SEC entering today in aces per set. It's not quite as vicious as a serve as you see from a few of her teammates, but getting the job done as much as anybody. Mishandles this, though, is Tyra Ariel able to connect. Ariel, when it was 29-28 in the first set, if you missed it, got an ace to end it. Just really an exclamation point at the end of a wild start. Shelton on the give and go. High riser right down the line.
Point Oklahoma.
Take a look. This one was so close, painting that ball straight down the line outside of the shoulder of Demarais.
Missouri is challenging that the ball was out of bounds.
So that's 2 challenges in the span of a few points, and that's my bad, obviously. Hopefully you don't have anywhere to get to, but
You brought this on, Max.
it was ruled in. It's tough to tell from our angle whether or not that might have glanced off of Demarais or if it was just straight up down the line.
Taking a look if it's out.
Point is in. Call is confirmed. Point in.
You're not going to get a better look than right there, and it is in. So Dawn Sullivan starts her day 0 for 1 on the challenge front. She'll take it, though, up 2 sets to none, and up here in the third set as well. Kelly Jo Burgess, the redshirt junior from Lehigh, Utah. One of the most efficient offensive players in the conference, but turns this into the net. 14th service error for Oklahoma today. That matches the record I told you they had a few weeks ago with 14 aces at Central Arkansas.
Now serving number 22, Marina Cromer.
This could be a big weekend in the grand scheme of things and in the long term for Mizzou on the heels of that really incredibly difficult road trip that a lot of teams are going to make in this conference this year. Good stuff in the net. Reagan Haith involved. When you go down to Texas A&M and then you go play Texas right after too, right? Mizzou lost 6 of 7 possible sets last week. But to bounce back and, I mean, they're winning 2 sets to none. They have a chance, an opportunity to win 6 straight sets and sweep an entire weekend in this SEC. To go back to 2-2, finally playing some home matches after being away for 4 straight weeks. This could be big in the grand scheme.
Yeah, it could be huge, especially if they're able to take lessons learned from those losses. I mean, they're playing against phenomenal teams, so it's not in the sense that necessarily they were playing poorly when they had those losses on the road, but just that they're able to see, okay, what areas can we shore up? What can we continue to improve upon in practice? And if they have that mentality, as I think we're able to see in this weekend, how they've been able to respond has been great.
Service ace, Harper Hall. That's her 12th of the year, first of the day. I mean, it's 12-11. Oklahoma's been right there this whole third set. Being down a couple sets hasn't mattered. They haven't been rattled at all. Baglio with the blind bump over. Free ball to try to pull level, but just a poor moment and wound up right at the net with a joust, but Oklahoma does take the point. Mizzou's in a little bit of disbelief. So there were 18 ties in the first set. That is only the 3rd tie since.
Check out and see if Hall is contacting this ball, if Haith is contacting it before, coming over the net before it has crossed the plane.
Another difficult serve from Hall. Ewan Alexander, this time it's Hall with the dig. And Frege with the set. And we are witnessing an Oklahoma team looking resilient.
Yes, Oklahoma has been responding so nicely. They just continue to chip away and find a way to stay in these sets to make points happen.
They got the lead now. This is all coming with Harper Hall at the service line. Ewan Alexander tried to go with the change of pace. Shelton. Maybe a pancake there from Sands. And it's stuck, the triple block. They haven't shown up a ton. That is block number 6, though.
That triple block really does a good job of taking advantage when Missouri's out of system and they have to put in a little higher ball to their outsides. That's when that triple block has the time to get over there.
5-0 run. As Claire Morrissey checks in. The outside hitter from Wildwood, Missouri, comes in for the Tigers. Baglio rolls it over. Have a good chance for OU to add to the lead. Shelton does just that. She's up to 14 kills. Oklahoma with a 6-0 run. They are the first of 15 and send us to our media break here in the 3rd set. Mentioned the resiliency going to break of this OU side in the midst of their best stretch of the day. It's a 6-0 scoring run. Last 5 points coming with Harper Hall, the sophomore at the service line. She had a spell earlier. We go back to that Central Arkansas matchup where 14 aces, 9 in the first set. In that first set, she had 5 straight service aces. Well, there's a service error. Ill-timed remark for me as Mizzou pulls within 2.
I think it's a great testament of Oklahoma. You would not know that they are down 0-2 right now with the way that they're playing. A lot of times if a team loses those hard-fought, close sets, it can be tough to continue to bounce back with that energy, but you would have no idea. They are bringing the energy, they are bringing the fight.
Gibson right into the double block. Gibson again, this time over the top. Maya Sands will set things up for Janet Demaray, who tucks it inside the far corner.
Demaray switching it up to that deep corner. It's going to be in between your left back and your middle back. Ideally, you want your block taking that away, so she saw that that space was open.
It's been another set where both offenses are just flying in terms of the hitting percentages. Overpass, Reagan Haith, been there, done that. She's got 6 kills.
Haith does such a good job up at the net, being ready for these overpasses. She stays patient, sees this ball's coming over, knows that the setter can't go up and do anything about it because she's in the back row, and takes that swing.
It's really getting the Mizzou bench into it as well. 15 all. Back row from Bush, looking for the middle of the hardwood. Back row attack. Just a hair deep. Oh, this was tipped, though. So that is a point for Mizzou. Both teams looked a little bit confused when that was originally ruled, which took a second or two. And here we go. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Third challenge in the last handful of minutes after we did not have one. Second challenge for Aaron
Oklahoma is
Mansfield.
challenging. There was no touch by the blocker.
Coach Mansfield won his first challenge. Kind of wonder what was just said to him.
I know.
Get these great looks inside the huddle and on the sidelines. And these are two coaches that bring tremendous energy, and they both really know it, the joy that their squads play with, which is, I think, everybody always appreciates.
Definitely. They both have stated that's a huge part of their culture.
It's an all-important challenge. He won a huge review in Nashville on Friday.
After the review, Oklahoma wins the point. There was a touch on the play.
So it is a
No
point.
touch on the play.
There we go. No touch on the play, so it is an OU point.
Yeah, it does not look like that ball definitely clears the hands.
But it was 22 or 23-23 in one of those big sets at Vandy. He won a challenge, made it 24-22, and obviously that's about as important of a moment as you could have when it comes to a review. With that scoreline. Crown over, quick set to Haith. Return to sender from Bush.
Bush tracked that so well. She could see that Crownover was wanting to get that ball to Hayes. She is committed on the middle because you can see that Patterson is going out to the outside. Patterson was committed to the outside, so that middle Hayes became Bush's responsibility, which can be really difficult to keep track of both the right side and the middle as you're outside.
Triple block, this time gets Toole.
Again, Janet Demery just finding a way to use that big block to her own advantage.
Bush goes right at Sands. High in the air for Demeray. Free ball here for OU. That got a touch, and Camille Gibson is having a nice set. Gets another kill, her sixth.
Gibson brings such a big presence on that right side. Missouri's blockers cannot just go commit to Bush or the middle on that other side of the net because Gibson has that strong, snappy swing. If she's one-on-one, it's really difficult for your defenders to be able to have any chance against a swing like that.
She legitimately hits it louder than anybody else on either team. Lapaglia, critical touch. Crownover turns it over. Bush goes with the soft stuff. It's the Bush push. OU up by 3.
And just that switch up, you can see LaBaglia wants this ball back. She identifies that that's that tip, but just not able to change directions quick enough to play that ball up defensively.
You talk about certain players having a lot in the tool bag. Bush can go with the soft stuff. She's got a kill with the left hand today, and we've seen that at times this year. It's got to be hard to frame up and time up the block when you're facing Bush on that left side.
Absolutely, because she can switch it up so easily. And I think what makes Bush so good is her ability to not have a tell, not show that ahead of time. She can deceive the other team, make it look like she's going to be going on that sharp cross or line, and then do the opposite thing. So she doesn't show her hand early on for those blockers, so that makes it really difficult.
Does that make it easier on the setter, too, especially when you have two young ones, knowing that wherever you hit it, she's got a swing in her tool bag that's going to find a potential kill?
Oh, definitely. It has to give them that confidence, as we were talking about earlier, that they don't have to be perfect. They just have to put it in a good hittable space, and Bush will take care of the rest.
I love that when teams sometimes talk about, especially after a defeat like OU suffered that 5-setter at Ole Miss, a return to fundamentals, the phrasing that Aaron Mansfield used with us was, hey, we don't want to get bored with the basics, and the big emphasis was just the shape of those sets and not being perfect.
Yeah, just making sure you're taking care of those small things, and then the bigger things will come in turn.
Well, Aaron Mansfield's got to be proud of what he's seen from his bunch here in this third set. Lost the first 30-28, It was 23-13. It looked like that second one was done and dusted. They went on a nice, lengthy run. Ultimately lost at 25-21, but now they're first to 20 and up by 4.
Yeah, I think that big spurt at the end of set 2 really re-energized them to come into and kind of take control of this set 3.
Set it in the open. They have to feel like they were only a few points away from entering tonight, being a perfect 3-0 in the SEC and 11-2 on the year, because they were up 2-1. They were at home versus Ole Miss last Sunday, and they had a 22-20 edge in that 4th set. That slipped away, and then the 5th set, as he told us, hey, the 5th set, anything can happen, no matter who you're playing, no matter where you are. And it just got away from them a little early. Key block from Ariel.
There, that is huge by Ariel, getting out there, getting her hands over the net in front of Bush. That is what Missouri needs to be able to slow hitters like Bush down. Need to read that ball accordingly and get those hands in front.
Tias Lopez in the serve. Nina Manovic, the freshman, back in as the setter out there for Mizzou. Ball goes quick through the middle. Good find with Burgess.
And there, Hall gets pulled a little bit to the right, as we can see there, but Burgess comes and finds her, ends up one-on-one with Desmarais, which can be really, really difficult when you have a hitter such as Burgess who is able to put in such a powerful swing.
It's a funky point in this set where the setters are changing on both sides now in back-to-back points, because Mega's back out there to serve. Crown over with Ariel. Great take from Shelton. Kept alive by Fraga. Mizzou back in system again from the back row. That is vicious. Kaylin Alexander, her 12th termination.
Great job here of Alexander. Being ready, being up in that back row attack, quick tempo swing behind Ariel. So the blocker was already jumping with Ariel, coming down as Alexander was swinging at the ball.
Alexander hitting 276. That's 51 points above her season average. Tough bump set here from Bush all the way across. Flack off speed. It's Flack, the freshman. Having herself an afternoon. We didn't see her in the first set and didn't see her until late in the second.
She comes in and just has that confidence, has that energy, and knows she saw that ball so well that Missouri's defense is pulled super far back, so she just tipped it right over the block.
Back up by 4. Only 3 points away from making this 2-1. Alexander sends it right off the hands of Imani Bush.
Continuously, when they need this point, Alexander up high, hitting through the block, over and overpowering Bush on the other side.
If you're OU, do you want to send more triples her way?
It's tough when you have a middle in there like Hayes. You kind of need to keep someone on her so she doesn't have just free reign or a one-on-one, because she can cut it around the block really hard. So it's a tough decision.
Shelton inside the line. That's paint.
I'm sure Shelton is used to going up against triple blocks in practice sometimes, which helps her game then. When she sees a double block, it must seem and feel like she has so much court to work with.
Oklahoma really starting to sense it. Far and away their most consistent set, where they are hitting .414. Crown over. Not too clean there between her and Hayes. And Oklahoma, they will have a handful potentially of set points as Mizzou uses their second and final timeout.
Just seeing a few more unforced errors here by Missouri than we did in the first 2 sets.
How does this change the rotation and the personnel for OU, knowing that, hey, when you've been on the comeback trail, you've had the likes of Alyssa Flack out there and some others who haven't featured too much. Do you continue to play them out there knowing that you've looked your best?
Yeah, I mean, I think they are coming in, especially Flack, and playing so well. Just the more she's out there, the better she's getting. So, I mean, I think I would trust and go with that.
They have the intention of making this a longer afternoon than it looked like after the first 2 sets. It looks like she's getting a finger taped up.
Yeah, might have got nicked on a block.
That looks like a tremendous job by the coaching staff and the training staff, because that's almost like you're dealing with someone at the doctor's office who's trying to distract you as you're getting the shot. Hey, I'll tape you up. I know you're in some pain. And then the job, for the coach there is just, hey, I'm the distraction.
Yep.
Hey, great set. Love what you're doing out there. Oh, hey, by the way, we're done here. Get back out there. So a timeout from Dawn Sullivan, who's out of timeouts. What a swing. Aaron Mansfield used 2 timeouts very early on in the last set. He's got the full complement as his disposal here because his team has been in the lead the large majority of this 3rd set. Only had 1 lead change this set and only had 1 the prior. Whitney Wallace to serve. And a service error gets Mizzou to 20. That's their 16th to go with those 5 aces. Mizzou needs Marina Crownover to go on a run right here. And in the positive department, the good spin, yeah, they're down 4, but this is your team leader in aces. And how fitting. That's Alyssa Flack that gets the set point termination, 25-20 Oklahoma. What a resilient group. We've talked about their youth when it comes to the setters. How about the youth on the outside? Alyssa Flack sends us to a 4th set here in Como. Third set is the charm for the Sooners as they get on the board.
Oklahoma does such a good job of spreading out their offense. We see Alyssa Flack coming into the game here, making a presence. Bush on the outside does what she does all the time, but also applying that pressure from the service line. Oklahoma was just continually on the offense, getting Missouri out of sorts and able to take control of that whole match, that set.
Oklahoma's hitting 363 for the match. They hit over 430 in that 3rd set, though. And this is kind of like what we saw in Nashville. Slow start. They hit 128 in that 1st set, but they got better as the match progressed, and they're getting better as this one has gone on. We knew in that opening set this was not going to go 3. Both teams are going to have to work to try to get the W and cap off a perfect weekend. Kelly Cho Burgess, they call her KJ. She gets the first kill of set 4. Up to 8 kills to go with 4 blocks now. Hitting 667. Service errors continue to be a topic of conversation around OU, though.
That is the one area of the game where they might have to shore up if they're wanting to continue to outlast this Missouri squad.
Tyra Ariel, it's been somewhat quiet for her today. She's picked her moments. 4 kills, 3 blocks, and a service error to go with that great ace she had to cap that 1st set, 30-28. So that's the 1st set Mizzou has dropped at home since they lost that 4-setter against Stanford back on September 9th. They trade off service errors. That's really back and forth and back.
Yeah, you can tell both sides really, really wanting to apply that pressure on the service line because they know both teams have so many different offensive weapons.
I asked you about that 1st set win for Mizzou and the manner in which it came, maybe being a calming presence. Marina Crownover gets the service ace, excuse me. We're not seeing any kind of rallies here in this set. But what does that do? Is that maybe another shot in the arm to try to ignite a team when you drop one the way they did?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really all about how you're able to respond in those moments. Okay, drop to that 3rd set. How are we going to come back out here in set 4?
Another whack from Flack. She's been tremendous. 7 kills, hitting over 500. This is legitimately her collegiate debut. She's a freshman. She didn't play in the non-con. She didn't feature last weekend or Friday in Nashville. So she has quite literally come out of nowhere and really stamped her name on this matchup. And there's an ace.
Very great placement on that service there. Do not see a lot of times where my stance is getting ace, but you can see how much court she's trying to cover to come over and take this ball from Alexander, but just out of her range.
Quick set for Reagan. Hey, when they've called her number, with the exception of really one set I can remember, I mean, Crownover and her have such a good chemistry.
They do, and that's, again, the importance of having that ball in system. Crownover is able to run that ball fast to Hayes.
One set back across. Rare misfire there for Alyssa Flack. And it's only her second error to go with those 7 kills. She's hit 545 before that swing.
Even though that was an error, I like that she's going for it. She has confidence in her swing. She's still trying to get that sharp cross ball.
Again, it's quick through Hayes, but this time she gets her first error on her 15th swing. The Hearn Center has grown a little eerily quiet. I mean, they saw 5 sets in a row won here between Friday and the first 2 today. Oklahoma with a sound response. Now a level start through the first 10 points of this 4th set. Shelton cross court, Sands sends it back over. Kennedy Patterson smashes it down.
Sands wasn't quite able to keep control of that ball to keep it on their side of the net, gave that overpass right to Patterson so she could take that big swing.
We have seen Harper Hall go on a great stretch at the service line.
Point Oklahoma.
And Marina Crownover went above the net on that touch.
Crownover doing all she can to try to save this ball from going over the plane of the net, but Oklahoma's blockers ready and they are able to take control of that ball.
You can see the frustration for Crownover, the redshirt junior from Austin, Texas. Made a homecoming over the weekend last week. Going down to take on the Longhorns, the team she won 2 national titles with. Labaglio, it's her hardest hit of the night.
Coach talked about Labaglio and just her ability to see the game a little bit differently with her international experience. And she's just been very, very proud of her development as she's come on and added that different, unique element.
Uncomfortable bump to get over there from Bush. Did want us to keep that point alive. Much easier this time for Hall. And it's always easy when you're finding Shelton. That is a net violation.
Now serving number 12, Alexis Shelton.
You can just see that hand touch the top of the tape on the block.
Alexis Shelton, 18 kills on Friday. That's 16 here this afternoon. Demaray pushes it off the block. The pancake came in from Hall, the setter. And OU wins the point. A lot of oohs and ahs in the crowd here at Hearns. We might see a challenge, or at least a conversation to be had.
Take a look and see who does this ball hit last before it goes into that antenna.
And we're going to see a challenge coming in from Dawn Sullivan. And it's funky because given that tight of that angle and the way the
There
ball...
is challenging touch off the blocker.
The way the ball came off, you'd almost assume it had to have been last off of Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
Missouri.
So it's off Imani Bush. And another strong moment there. A couple coming in quick succession for Labaglio. Good challenge. Looked like all 6 players on the court for Mizzou thought they won that point initially.
Yes.
And it looked like there was a little bit more confusion on the OU side.
Agreed.
It's a big point, though. Instead of down 3, just down 1 if you're the Tigers. They haven't had any kind of momentum in what feels like a long time. I mean, in real time, it feels like over half an hour since they've really made a sizable run. Flex their muscle a lot in set 2. Matias Lopez. Oh. Matias Lopez. That's her 3rd ace of the day. It might have been her best.
Yes, this is huge. Watch this ball just drop out of the air in front of the Oklahoma passer.
Just doesn't rotate. The knuckler. This time hit it a little deeper. Crownover had to force her way in there to get the set. And Bush goes deep.
Where we don't see many miscues there from Bush, and that's one on that free ball situation that they're going to want to have back.
Matias Lopez with the Tigers in the midst of a 3-0 stretch. But quick through the middle, Kennedy Patterson.
Demray had fully committed with the right side. Take a look here. There is no blockers up on Patterson as Demray goes and Ariel goes to the outside, fully opening up that space, which is a testament to Hall running this offense. She could feel that that blocker was gone, so it was open court for Patterson.
With that 6'5" frame, when she can get on top of the volleyball, it can be so hard on the other side of the net. Thompson with the bump set to Bush. Turn right into the wall of Ariel and Crownover. Bush again this time. Good dig there from Alexander. Tough moment for Demray. Back row tipped over. Not how you draw it up. But Kaylin Alexander, that's what she does.
Take a look here. This set is so far in front of the 10-foot line, so Alexander just has to give it all she's got to leave to contact the ball. Just places it right over the net perfectly.
Just how you operate things in practice.
Made it happen.
14 kills now for Alexander, leading the Tigers. Shelton leads everybody with 16. Bush not too far behind, though. That's her 14th.
We talked about it with Bush just remaining steady. You've seen it throughout every single set here. She just comes in, she gets huge kills, but you don't see her get too high or too low. She maintains such composure emotionally.
She helped Washington return back to the NCAA tournament last year. Camille Gibson, we've seen both sides of the coin with her. We've seen some incredible aces tonight, but also a few of those. She was the 4th Sooner ever to pull off 5 aces in a 3-set match earlier this season against Central Arkansas. Vega back in there. Picked up nicely by Mizzou. From the 10-foot line. Great swing again from Flack. The joust. And it's won by Kelly Jo Burgess.
Great job by Burgess, but love to shout out and see the middles getting in there when they are serving in that rotation. Ariel does a great job of still playing really nice defense, getting some digs.
It's a tough swing that Alyssa Flack had to make there to put some pressure on Mizzou, and she did just that. 11-all. 4th set here in Como. Mizzou took the first 2. Oklahoma won the 3rd, 25-20. Frega for Flack. The give and go right back to Alexander. Turns it into a double block. Alexander again blocked for a second time. Primal roar coming from Alexis Shelton.
Shelton and Burgess do such a good job of lining up here. That ball was even so far inside, but they still were disciplined with their feet to get in front of Alexander's swing.
Numbers only continuing to blossom for OU.
Service error, Mizzou.
Bush with the service error, but they're hitting over 300 again this set. Mizzou just 214.
Now serving Marina Traveler.
And it really hasn't mattered whether it was Mega or Hall in there in the 6-2 doing the setting the last couple of sets. The hitting percentages have been mighty efficient.
Yeah, which just shows that all of their hitters have become accustomed to each of those different setters. Whether Mega's in there or Hall is in there, they know what they are needing to expect, and both of them are they are executing their role well so that those around them can do the same.
What's the difficulty in finding a rhythm as an outside when you've got two setters in there going back and forth all game?
Yeah, it can make it a little bit difficult because each of them is going to be unique, so it takes a lot of maturity on the side of the hitter. Not only do you have to be thinking about the game as you normally would, but then remembering, okay, which setter do I have with me in these 3 rotations? What do I need to adjust accordingly?
No attacking errors in the first set for Kaylin Alexander. Kaylin Alexander now has 7. Oklahoma trying to be the first to 15 again. Reagan Hayes has other ideas. 8 kills and 16 swings with no errors.
Huge. She does a great job just being up, especially in serve receive. That's when we've been seeing her really get utilized on those perfect passes.
Kaylin Alexander's maybe fallen off a little bit as this match has grown, but got a chance here from the service line to pull Mizzou back level. Alexander from the back row. 14-0. What a great dig to kickstart that one for Maya Sands.
Yes, Sands just making it look easy. Those balls, she's covering so much court, but you wouldn't know it with how quick she is and how seamlessly she does it.
Just missed. Kaylin Alexander thought she had the ace. Her teammates think the same. Somebody's got 15. We go quiet again. Live, it's 15-14 OU. What looks like a service error. We'll see if a challenge does come. Don Sullivan looking over at the scorer's table, and we will have a challenge. This will be a nice finish before we get to the media break.
Missouri is challenging that the ball was inbounds.
Kaylin Alexander. This happened right in front of the OU bench, and they thought it was out.
Yeah, both teams reacted as though they won that point.
If it's an ace, it would be Mizzou's 11th. Tiani Frago lets it go right by her.
I think that looks in the
And that's pretty clear cut. Wow.
Doesn't get any better painting a corner like that.
She's got a great view at it herself, too.
Yeah.
And that arm was raised. And she was celebrating what she thought was an ace. It would be her 3rd of the match. She entered with 9 on the season through 14 games. Also up to 15 kills, too shy of tying her season high. It would be her 3rd time reaching that mark. So we play a waiting game. It's going to be 15-14. We're going to go to a break. We just don't know who's got 15 for the moment. Still awaiting the official announcement, even though both teams are back out there.
After review, the ball was inbounds. Point, Missouri. Missouri will retain their challenge.
There you go. Flip the score. 15-14 Mizzou over Oklahoma now. So with neither team taking a timeout, this should be a media break. feel like I'm talking in a library right now, too loud.
Both teams ready to go, though.
Okay, we'll see where this goes. So Alexander does get her third ace, and it is now a 3-0 run for the home team, too. Okay, we play on. The beauty of live sports. Kaylin Alexander. Another tough one to deal with for Bush. Shelton hammers it through the back row.
Serving for the Sooners, number 18, Harper Hall.
This just feels like in the fourth set, it's going to be who makes that first big run. Haven't seen too many on the day in total. Maya Sands, good feed for Crownover. And another back row kill from Kaylin Alexander.
Alexander timing this ball so nicely, connecting with Crownover. They had a little bit of a miscue a few plays ago on that back row attack, but they have shored up that connection now.
Maya Sands, 15 digs to go with 5 assists, 2 today. Gibson, that's going to be tough for Crownover, can't get to it.
Gibson on the kill. Point Oklahoma.
Good, not able to get to that ball, but seeing Crownover in the entire team follow, chase that ball, continues to build that confidence as a defender. Okay, even if I don't control this ball perfectly, I know my team is going to be doing everything they can to get to it.
Ariel drills it right at the feet of the All-American.
And that is that spark that Missouri has been needing. Just see how high up in the air Ariel contacts this ball to be able to go over top of it around the block.
What's the key here for Mizzou down the stretch? Trying to kind of refine their footing.
Yeah, I think limiting their errors and trying to take care of these balls in serve receive and transition a little bit more. Put Crownover in a position where she has all 3 attackers so that she's able to mix up that offense and take then Oklahoma out of their offense.
Thunderous from Alexis Shelton, who got the first contact and then got the ball right back. Did not mess around.
Shelton just responds with such explosive swings. When she gets set, like, you know that ball is going to be coming at you fast.
Crownover, Ariel. This time just drops it over softly.
Great decision there. Ariel just had a massive swing. So this time she switches it up with the tip over the block, catches the defenders back on their heels. Nobody even close to getting that ball.
Saw some space and took advantage. Right through the hands of Zoe Matias-Lopez.
She read it. She saw the tip, started sprinting up, and it was a great decision there to throw that ball longer, and Matias-Lopez just wasn't able to hang on to it because it was so powerful.
Is that a case where you're just kind of caught in no man's land?
Yeah, you see that hitter drop their elbow, and you see the tip coming, so you automatically think, okay, run, 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 gotta release to get the tip behind the block, and then when they throw it, it's just tough.
Alexander, solo stuff from Imani Bush. 9th block for OU.
Mizzou has been going to Alexander quite frequently in offense right now, so Oklahoma's block able to be really, really lined up on her. Going to need to see some different weapons from Missouri to open up some space for Alexander.
Megan misses a little too much mustard on that. That is service error number 21. 15 more errors than aces from the service line. They put on great pressure. We know that's going to be the case. The miscues will come, but maybe a little bit too many this afternoon in Aaron Mansfield's mind. Vega goes back for Bush. Oh, the finesse.
Strategic plan there by Bush. Ariel, the middle, was in the back serving, so she has to play defense that one rotation. She saw that she was back there, just tipped it over the block. Going to be a tough one.
Oklahoma first to 20 again in back-to-back sets now. They have been the aggressor since that second set concluded. Crownover wins the joust. Oh, no call. Yes, it is Mizzou's point. They're pointing back and forth there.
A little bit of confusion there for just a second.
20-20. 22 to serve. Shelton just powers it through that double block.
Those blockers are up, but just the strength and speed of that block, they're just a half a second late on that swing, so it's able to just jumble through, which can be difficult to defend.
Now serving number 22, Whitney Wallace.
Shelton up to 19 kills. That surpasses her total from Friday in Nashville. Be huge to go up a couple of points, but there's service error 22.
Anytime Oklahoma starts to get going on a little bit of a run, they seem to bail out Missouri by giving them that free point with the missed serve.
Is there any point where maybe you take your foot off the gas in terms of the serves? Because that is your bread and butter. That's your identity, the aggressive serve, right? But you're up, it's late, you've had too many.
I feel like at this point in the match, when it's 21-21, the last 5 points of the set, you really have to focus on not giving away those errors. There's no time to make it back up.
Shelton with the finesse again.
I would place a little bit more trust in your block and your defense to be able to still handle the Missouri offense and maybe take your foot off the brake a little bit on those serves rather than giving away the free points.
See what the serve looks like this go around from Harper Hall. Aces on the year. She's got one this afternoon. Got 7 digs to go with those 27 assists. Having a great afternoon. What an effort for Maya Sands to avoid the ace. But it's blocked down. Shelton this time with the defense. Patterson also involved. Mizzou will call timeout. So this will feature as our media. It's 23-21 in set 4. OU, we've talked about the service errors, now 22 to go with those 6 aces.
Seems like every time that they start to get a little bit of a spark, they just, again, return it with that error that bails Missouri out. But then on the Missouri end of things, we have seen a lot more hitting errors offensively. So both teams just not able to, Missouri's getting those free points on the service errors, but they're not quite capitalizing when it comes to then in offense, in transition, they're giving the ball back to Oklahoma.
We knew the hitting numbers were going to come back down to earth after both squads hit over 400 in the first set. But OU still at 389. Mizzou down to 280 now. We have 4 attacking errors in this set. And after our first timeout, what a huge point this is. Oklahoma lost the first 2 sets. They won the last. Trying to send us to a 5th set. And the stop will get us closer. Shelton doing it all.
Back-to-back blocks by Shelton there. She does such a good job of identifying that ball is going to Missouri's opposite hitter. And so she is up and early and taking that away.
24-21 set point for Harper Hall and company. Crownover, tough for Haith. This time it's Patterson. 12 blocks for OU, and they get a trio of them late in set 4. They took set 3, 25-20. They win this one, 25-21. The race to 15 when we come back. What a flurry from the All-American Alexis Shelton.
Shelton cannot be stopped tonight. She is doing a phenomenal job of getting up and early. Watch how fast this swing is, and she can dominate both offensively and defensively. You see her taking away huge areas of the court with her block at critical moments. When Shelton has been called, she is answering and executing so nicely.
An incredible performance from her, really highlighted by the finish she had defensively, of all things, for someone who's one of the best terminators in the SEC. Record in 5 setters on one side. You've got a Mizzou team that's 1-1. Both those matchups came against Arkansas State. They actually came back-to-back days, one a win, one a loss, and Arkansas State is the lone unranked team to beat Missouri this year. Oklahoma trying to be the second. On the other side for the Sooners, this is the third five-setter for Aaron Mansfield. They are 0-2.
This will be a great test and great challenge to see if they're able to maintain this level of play through 5 sets for both sides of the court.
Oklahoma's loss in the SEC came in 5 sets last weekend in Norman against Ole Miss. The other 5-setter was versus Central Arkansas. The all-important quality start when you're going just to 15. And a kill coming from Alyssa Flack. I mean, who had her penciled in for playing critical points down the stretch here and really coming through the freshman?
This shows coming off of the bench and stepping into this role today, she is embracing this opportunity that she's getting.
9 kills, hitting .438. That's 9 more kills than she had in her career. She's a freshman and she did not play until today. Alexander looking for the response. Frege kept it up. Halden well to watch that all the way in. They reload with Alexander again. Frege with the bump set. They tee up Shelton. She's been doing that all day. 21 kills.
And who else? It doesn't matter. Here we see Shelton on the right side in an out-of-system situation. She's still able to get her feet to that ball so that she can cut it inside of the double block.
Go back to that big dig from Tiani Frege, too.
Yeah, huge.
Kept it alive. And an ace and a 3-0 start. Oh, U's got all the momentum now.
Very smart of Bush to really target that ball to Kaylin Alexander. She's in the front row right now, so that gives her another thing to be thinking about. We can see she has stepped out of the passing rotation now, and Janet Demaray has stepped back in.
Bush finally gets her first ace. It comes in the 5th set. She leads the team on the year. She got multiple aces 7 times. Alexander, can she find it? They needed her to come through.
Missouri has been relying on Kaylin Alexander so heavily, so really needing her in this 5th set to come back alive.
Back with Tyra Ariel. She's got 2 aces today. Team within 2 now. In rhythm, Shelton, and deadly as always.
Gonna keep seeing her. Missouri is going to have to find a way to get these hands over the net a little bit faster. You can see the ball is past the Missouri block before they are over the net, which opened up that big space on the court.
Now serving number 22, Whitney Wall.
The Sooners have stunned this crowd. A group that has grown silent here in Como. Crown over right back to Alexander. Tucks that in the near corner for 2. Well, we know where both these teams are going right now.
Yes, definitely leaning into that leadership by both of their outsides there. We had Alexander with her back-to-back kill into that deep corner. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that. So each team, whoever can figure out a way to slow down the outsides is going to be successful here.
So Alexander has now surpassed her season high. Her high is a Tiger now with 18 kills. Shelton trying to spin in the air, just too difficult off the set for Mamea Mager.
And this is that situation where when you run a fast offense like this, you have to be jumping already. So if the set is a little bit too high, such in that situation, there's really no fixing that. You're already committed to that tempo. So it's just tough. It's just one of those things that you have to keep working on that connection.
Shelton gets her 23rd. That's critical because now she's tied her season high at 23 last month versus Florida State.
That's huge. And I love seeing that going right back to Shelton there. So establishing, shoring up that connection. Don't change anything. Just know that, okay, sometimes those miscues happen, but we're not going to change the way that we play. We're going to continue staying with that fast tempo offense.
And a second ace of this 5th set. Harper Hall wagging that finger. She will not be denied.
And this is where that service pressure comes in so critically. You see, able to just get outside of Janet Demaray's typical passing pattern.
6-3 timeout Mizzou. Can the Sooners pull off the reverse sweep? What a thrilling afternoon it's been. The stars on full display. Alexis Shelton, she's been vibing, rightfully so. She's nearing a career high in kills. And we were told, Aaron Mansfield said, hey, when we're gelling and vibing and enjoying each other's presence and playing with a lot of fun, that's when we're at our best. And right now on the other side, they've made life difficult on K1 Alexander since that first set. We know where both these teams are going, to these two, and they're going to be the ones to decide this.
Definitely. These outsides have been unstoppable tonight, so it's really going to come down in this fifth set to which team is able to adjust their defense accordingly to either stop or slow these hitters down is going to be critical.
Nobody else in double figures in kills for Mizzou outside of Alexander. Imani Bush, by the way, helping out. She's got 16. So Hall gets the ace. We had a timeout, then an error. We've seen that a handful of times today. Mizzou back within a couple. Tigers trying to inch their way back in this one. Alexander does have 3 aces today. Goes right at Shelton. And Shelton gets the last laugh.
Oklahoma does such a good job of getting Shelton different looks at the ball, making passing patterns differently so that she can swing on the right side, so she can swing on the outside. Missouri needs to know where she is at all times, and they know that she's not just going to be primarily swinging on that outside.
Back up by 3. And an ace for Shelton, who lets loose with another loud yell. They just can't stop her.
Watch this ball and just how it floats in the air just out of Alexander's range, just drops in front of her. Really, really tough ball to pass, but also very smart of Shelton to be targeting Alexander, the player that is getting the most sets, getting the most plays right now. She's a weapon even though she's in the back row, so that's very strategic to try to take her out of the offense however you can.
How interesting that Alexander serves it right at Shelton. She gets that good first touch, gets the give and go, gets the kill, and then comes back and gets the ace right at her counterplay.
She's just building her confidence over there.
24 kills, that's 3 shy of her career high, and she gets back-to-back aces. That's 3 on the day, her team up 5.
And the energy, you can just feel it. Oklahoma is excited. They are celebrating each other, and like you were touching on, Coach Mansfield said, that is when they're at their best. Alexis
Shelton has more aces today than she had on the year. Had 2 this season. Crown over. Mizzou needs it. They go to Demaray. How about Shelton doing it defensively? But they can only keep it up for so long.
Take a look here at Demaray, able to find that hole in the block, go over. Shelton in the right spot, makes a good play, but it's so tough as a blocker after you come down from blocking to turn quick and get that ball.
Another first contact from Shelton. They go to Bush. Hadn't gone to her at all in this set. They're the first to 10 and up by 5.
And Shelton's level of play then just opens up the floor for the rest of the hitters because Missouri has to be so keyed in on her. Even when she's in the back row, they have to be thinking about her. So then that gives the other hitters such as Bush and Burgess a lot of open space to work with.
Right over the top of the tape again from Thompson. And a great moment for Kelly Jo Burgess. Now everybody joining the hit parade.
And we talked about that service pressure and whether to back off with those errors, but now that pressure is paying off so nicely. You can see just able to get that in-system ball.
It's 11-5, and I kid you not, the Sooners are hitting .875 in this 5th set. 7 kills, 8 swings, no errors.
That is just unheard of, but going back to the testament, they are getting Missouri so out of system when it comes to passing. They're getting free balls, they're getting overpasses back, so they're able to really do what they want offensively.
Hall, Shelton, and now Thompson too. These serves, all of a sudden we're not seeing many errors at all. We've seen a few aces, and Mizzou's just been out of sorts defensively.
Yeah, so just keeping that foot on the gas, even weathering those errors throughout the match is seeming to be what's going to help in the long run for them.
In terms of what's on the line, OU trying to move to 3-1 in the SEC with that lone loss being a 5-setter at home last week versus Ole Miss. Trying to move to 11-3 on the season. Mizzou, they were eyeing Dawn Sullivan's 50th win here in her time in Como. They were off and running, not only winning the first 2 sets today, but the first 5 of this weekend back at home. place they're so comfortable here at the Hurt Center. I mean, this crowd has been utterly stunned. And you just felt like really all the pressure in this fifth set was on Mizzou out of the gate. And Oklahoma, again, has just flexed their muscle. They're up by 6, 4 points away from a reverse sweep, and eyeing their first win here in this city in 15 years.
Yeah, they are just riding on this high of this pressure and just clicking on all cylinders. Each player's executing their role so nicely.
It's the 74th meeting all-time. Two former Big 12 foes meeting for the second time in the SEC. And an ace out of the timeout. Sydney Thompson, everything going the Sooners' way.
Missouri trying to switch things up, getting different people in the passing patterns. Here we see Labiglio passing. She has not been in the passing pattern very often tonight, so then just causing that confusion between her and Sands, who's taking what balls.
At this point, it almost feels like it'd be miraculous if Mizzou was able to come back in this one. Janet Demaray, Thompson kept it up. Shelton does the same. What an effort. Well, that's not going to stay in. Sydney Thompson helped up by her head coach. I mean, even though they lost the point, you got to tip your cap for the effort for OU.
Definitely. You could see all smiles over there, even though they did not get that point. That effort is still going to be contagious going into this point.
The path ahead is quite murky in this fifth set for Mizzou. They won the first 30-28, won the second 25-21. Trying to avoid a reverse sweep at home. Hall tees up Bush. Good first contact there for Matias Lopez. Back to Demaray. Back row attack. Layout from Matias Lopez. Finally a lengthy rally in this final set. And that got a touch from Matias Lopez. Camille Gibson, first kill for her in this fifth set.
Just take a look at this power from Gibson here, and such a good decision by Hall to go back one-on-one blocker. It's just coming with such speed. Might have been out, but Matias Lopez not able to get out of the way in time because it's coming so fast.
13-6. The true freshman of Mega. Aerial. I mean, Mizzou needs a run. They need it right now.
That is the energy that they need. That's a big swing from Ariel. Going to have to try to continue riding on that energy as we move forward.
And it's in the hands now of Janet Demaray, the senior from Colleyville, Texas. She's got an ace in 7 of her last 8, including today. But this is in system. They go to Flack again. Net violation against Alexander, and we will have a match point with a sizable advantage. It has been all Oklahoma.
Missouri is challenging them, but there was no net.
Don Sullivan with the challenge here. At this point, I mean, why not?
Might as well take it, see what happens, but also this gives you a moment to talk with your team. Almost acts as a little bit of a timeout.
Chance to ice the server as well. I mean, there's a few reasons.
After review, the call is confirmed. Point Oklahoma. Missouri will lose one of their remaining challenges.
Expedited review, so not much of a de facto timeout. So now it's Imani Bush, the senior from Campbell River, British Columbia, the Washington transfer. Missed all of 2023 with a shoulder injury, had surgery, bounced back to the tune of a second-team All-Big Ten season. Leads the team in aces. Had a chance to end it. Kaywin Alexander trying to keep Mizzou's slim hopes alive. And Flack goes right into the wall that is Tyra Ariel. Gets her 4th block of the day.
And that is the blocking presence that we have seen from Ariel in previous matches. She does such a good job of getting over early and taking away that space.
Ariel will serve now. Mizzou, they need to rattle off 6 more in a row here to keep their hopes alive. Trying to avoid falling to 1-3 in the SEC. Backs to the wall in Como. And another block, back to back. Reagan Hayth, it's the seniors getting it done.
This time, Hayth keeps her eyes on the ball, stays committed with her middle there, and follows her in front of the setter to take that away.
And they need to be perfect. That's back-to-back points, but they still need 5 more. Third match point for the Sooners. It's System, it's Shelton. And that's how this one ends. Her 25th kill of the afternoon. The resilient Sooners. They pull off the reverse sweep. Their first win in Columbia in 15 years.
Absolutely phenomenal reset by Oklahoma after dropping those first 2 sets, able to bounce back and really key in on that aggressive nature that is their identity when it comes to the service line. They applied that pressure and they executed their game plan and got that end result with the win.
I think we learned a lot about Aaron Mansfield's group today. Down after 2 sets, losing both. It was 30-28. They lost the first one. They had a few set points, but I mean, what a tough bunch to put away.
Absolutely, and I mean, they have so many offensive weapons, but Shelton just did a great job of leading the way and staying that steady presence throughout all 5 sets.
Third time's the charm for Oklahoma. It's their third 5-set match of the year. They get their first win. It comes in reverse sweep fashion. That's all.